Aloha and welcome to the Embodied Healing Self podcast with your host, Jen Mons. Each week, join me for soul-inspired, conscious conversations around embodied healing and awakening to your soul's purpose. Thank you for listening in. Aloha, friends and family. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Embodied Healing Self. So this week, we're going to dive into the topic of the shadow around living your soul's expression. So you guys know that the foundation for this podcast and the work that I do is to provide space for conscious conversations or healing and accessing your embodied healing self, the healer within you, so that you can access and listen to your soul's wisdom, which will take you on a path of living in your purpose. And you also know that I love to do shadow work. There's always the light and the shadow to everything that we do, every belief that we have, every experience. There's always a different perspective, right? The experience of itself is unity, but there is duality within the experience. It's part of it. That is the wholeness. So this week, I'm going to share with you what I notice to be, from the work that I do and what I've witnessed in my own personal life, the shadow in what I would call the attachment to answering your soul's calling, living your soul's purpose, or accessing your soul's wisdom. And it starts in the attachment to it. It starts in the belief that it is what you do, not who you are, that makes you valuable, that makes you who you are. That's where it starts. I believe that attachment in any form is what causes suffering. And attachment to an idea, a purpose, a person, a belief. Anytime we are attached to something, we are contracted and limited to only our vision. And we exclude the possibility of the expanded vision and the truth, which is that we are all integrated, that every experience that we have is not just about us. It is about everybody. It is about the collective. And so when we are attached to our own personal calling, there's a shadow to it. And I'm going to share with you a little bit about how you can recognize within yourself and with others when it's out of alignment. And I also want to speak to the balance of showing up unapologetically you and still able to live in alignment with the higher truth. So when we started this conversation, I shared with you that if you are attached or even if you believe that somebody else has the answer that you need. So when I work with people in my private mentorship program, my group coaching program, we do incorporate human design, soul contract. I do divine healing for clearing subconscious ego agendas. And even when I did health coaching and when I integrate health coaching, I talk about certain tools that can be helpful, but none of those things, do I believe, are the answer. They are tools. And I think this is really important to understand. This is the foundation, that everything that even I share is just information. It's just a tool for you to see if it lands for you and if it's in alignment with you and if it resonates with you, just to give you more information. All of the things that I teach are tools. None of them are the right answer for every single person. It's just not the way we were created. So let's just start with the belief that you are the expert of you. You are the only person who knows and can learn about what foods, what diet's going to work for you, what beliefs hold true for you, what your values are, what your beliefs are, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what your fears are. You are the person. There are a lot of tools to help you figure that out. Having a coach or a mentor helps you to figure out your blind spots, so it is really nice to have support. because we all have blind spots. We all have hidden ego agendas that we cannot see. And it is helpful to have people to help you to see those. I have not met a person yet who is completely aware of all of their ego agendas, because if they thought they were, that's probably their ego. So what I want to talk about today is the shadow in being attached to the discovery of your own soul's purpose, because there's a shadow to that too. And the shadow is in the attachment to that and the belief that it is something that you do, not who you are. And so I've been in my own uncomfortable experience lately with just the integration of personal and business. And one of my friends, the host of the podcast Nurturing Your Nest, Angie Schaefer, could just sort of sense that something was off energetically, and so sweetly just sent me the passage from the book called Wolfpack from Abby Wambach. Some of you may be more familiar with her wife's most recent book, Untangled, from Glennon Doyle, but the passage was really about helping Abby to identify that it wasn't soccer that made her who she was, but the magic was already within her. And I don't have the passage in front of me to quote it, but just helping her to see that it was the magic in her and the person that she was and the way that she carried herself that was why people loved her so much. It didn't have so much to do with her talent or ability on the field. And so, to receive this message was at a time of feeling uncertain and self-doubt and discomfort in what I was experiencing. It was so helpful to be reminded, because I think we all need to be reminded that it's who we are as a person, not what we do, that matters. And so even if you're listening and you're a healer or a coach or a leader or a practitioner or a mother or a father, whatever your role is in your life, it's who you are as a person. That's why people connect with you. That's why people trust you. When I think about in my life, we're getting ready to do an addition on the house, a remodel. When I think about a real estate agent or my financial advisor, the store that I shop at, all of my decisions I make because I trust the person and because of who they are, their energy, and how they make me feel. That is how I make choices. The business coach that I chose did not have a business degree. I was in alignment with her message. The person that we're choosing to do the remodel on our house is just a person who I resonate with the way that he does things, with his personality, with his beliefs, both in and out of work. When people don't know how to identify themselves separate from their work, and their identity becomes their work, there's a little bit of an unhealthy relationship there. So I think it's important to be able to connect with people with who they are, if they're serving you, if they're your doctor, if they're your financial advisor, both in and out of work, really. So, it was just a really sweet, gentle reminder of the importance that I teach, but it helps to be reminded of what's really important at the end of our life is who we are. And what matters most to us. It's not what we do. What we do can come and go, but who we are is who we live with. It's how we show up in our life. And so the shadow to the idea that, and this is the work that I do, right? Like I help people to awaken the healer within them so that they can access their soul's wisdom, their purpose, fully step into what it is that they came here to do. And so as a person who helps people to discover that work, I am here to share with you the shadows in that. And I want to invite you to consider that, remember that any attachment to it is unhealthy. And ways that we know that we're out of alignment, they're pretty similar to other relationships and areas of our life. When we feel overwhelmed and exhausted, we are out of alignment. And so what I have learned for me is that my body speaks to me through headaches. This is just a knowing that I have. And so when I am in a situation or a conversation or a relationship that is out of alignment, either for me or for that person, either I'm overgiving or I'm not being valued or this person is not giving enough or overgiving, again, either way, right? If it feels out of alignment or communication is not clear, then my body speaks to me through a headache. And what's so interesting is what I've noticed over the years, becoming an intuitive life coach and coach trainer, is that it's because it's blocking my third eye chakra and it's keeping me safe. My ego is keeping me safe by not allowing me to see clarity or truth from my intuition, which is the clairvoyance. And so learning to lean into that, to feel the discomfort. And the hard part is that sometimes you have a knowing that something is out of alignment, but it's not what you want to see. Sometimes we want to see things in other people that we want there to be a different truth, right? Like if you're in a relationship with somebody, if you're in a marriage or in a friendship or a partnership of some sort, and you get a feeling or a sense that something is out of alignment, but you're questioning whether it's you, but you know that your body's speaking to you in a way. Now, you have to develop a relationship with your body to know what it is that is speaking to you, to come up with your own cues on when something's out of alignment. And once you figured that out and you know that, then it is your responsibility to listen to it, because the body doesn't lie. The body is not the mind and it's not the heart. It has its own intuition. It is the heart intuition, but it's not the thoughts, because the thoughts quickly come after intuitive hits, and it gets very confusing because we then believe that what we feel is what we think we feel. So when we go back into the body and we really access that body wisdom and we give ourselves permission to explore what it is that's there, then we come to clarity from a grounded place. And so the shadow, not only in the attachment, is in the thinking that whatever it is that we think we're here to do is only meant for us and it's only about us. And so you'll hear people sometimes say that it's okay to show up unapologetically. And although I agree that we are here to be who we're meant to be unapologetically, I would offer that there is some space of awareness in just knowing that when we are in alignment with higher self, with source, with God, then there is no reason to even think that we have to be apologetic. So we don't even really have to, like, that doesn't, those ego agendas don't even come in because we're embodying our truth. Like, we don't have to say it. We're already embodying it. And oftentimes if we think we have to say it, then there's room for discernment about why we think we have to say it. And so if we think we have to be apologetic or not apologetic about something, I think the invitation is really asking, like, why do I notice that I need to say this or feel this way? Because if we're out of alignment, not only are we overwhelmed or tired or exhausted, but people can get hurt. And this is the tricky part. This is very difficult because if you're in a relationship with somebody who you feel is not serving you, is it really about what's not serving you? Or is it really about leaning in deeper and being curious about why it's not serving you, what there is to be learned about you, not why the other person isn't meeting your needs, but what within you is not being met? And that's the deeper question. Because sometimes what happens is a way that we protect ourselves from being hurt or from our own hidden ego agendas, our own fears, our own insecurities in relationships specifically, whether it's a relationship with work, with food, with our body, with a business partner or a marriage or whatever it is, whatever that relationship is, if there's a fear underneath of it, sometimes what we do subconsciously is we create a situation where if we don't think that we're good enough, or we're afraid of something, or we think that we're no longer supposed to be in this relationship anymore, then we create an experience where the person doesn't have a choice. And that usually ends up hurting them. So again, that's the part where, in that case, don't be unapologetic. Don't make it about you. We're seeing this right now with the masks, right? It's like we're using it as a reason to judge people. There is no right or wrong. Everybody has their own belief. And, quite honestly, where I come from is maybe they work 1%. I'm not convinced that they work. I've been in a place of being immune compromised, and I've been in a place of being super empowered in my health. And so for the sake of the people who I know who are afraid right now, my heart goes out to them. And I will wear a mask out of respect for those people because I know what it's like to be them. And I have nothing to prove. I have no ego agenda. It's not out of my being niceness to them. It's out of my respect for what their experience is. So when we have such an attachment to a belief that we're here to do something, that we are unaware of how other people feel, we feel we have the right to be unapologetic about our mission, I would invite you to consider that there's something underneath that. Because nothing that we do or say ever is just about us. And if you don't see that bigger picture, then you already are in your ego. If we're serving our higher self, if we're serving God, if we're serving the divine love and universe, then we're already looking from the perspective of unity. We're already considering that every choice, every decision, every word we speak affects everybody. And that actually is our purpose. It is to embody and be our truth in this larger integrated network of energy that is happening, while simultaneously, in the unity of it, having the awareness of how we show up in that space. For us to just say that we can just do whatever we want because it is what we're here to do unapologetically, it has a shadow. We can do both. We can be both. When we are in alignment with being and embodying our truth, our wisdom, when we are committed and devoted to our own personal growth in the balance of being and becoming, in a place in the acceptance, the healing is the acceptance of where we are. When we do and be, when we integrate and learn, when we're in that flow and we see ourselves connected with everybody around us and we make choices and we use words, they're in alignment and grounded from that place, not serving the ego agendas, then it is possible for us to express, be the expression of ourselves in a healthy way, to be fully embodied in that healthy way. And in that place, you will find freedom, peace, joy, health, wealth, fulfillment, and connection. If you are not in that place, you will not have those things. And no matter what you believe it is that you're here to do, you will keep searching, but you will not feel those fully integrated, embodied experiences. You will have your results either way. If you're meant to do something in this life, you will do it. But it's how you do it and who you are when you're doing it that really matters. Because the work that you're doing is not who you are. And I'm saying this today because I have the honor of working with many, many women who are here to do great things. Whether it's in their corporate job, whether it's their own business, whether it's within their family or their practice. The women I work with are phenomenal. They are healers and leaders and coaches in whatever capacity that they are serving. And sometimes we get caught up and our value and our worth being in the doing rather than the being. And when we do that, we are never fulfilled or content. And I hear that a lot from women. They want freedom. They want fulfillment. They want peace, inner peace. So if this resonates with you, if you're struggling with this, I invite you to come on over to my website at jenmons.com and hop on a clarity call. The Align and Amplify Roadmap is where we talk about where you are, where you want to go, and the blocks standing in the way between where you are and getting there, how it is that you want to feel. Thanks for listening in. Would love to hear how this lands for you. Let me know in the comments, and have a fantastic day. Hello, friends, and thank you so much for joining me today and being a part of this community. I know there are many other podcasts that you could be tuning into, and I am deeply honored that you chose to listen in and be present with me today. I love and cherish and appreciate you, and I want to invite you to join our tribe and Facebook group under jenmons.com/connect. I would also love to gift you your guide to discovering and overcoming the self-limiting beliefs standing in the way of you living in optimal health, more energy, fulfillment, and self-confidence to create an embodied, healthy, whole you. You can find this at jenmons.com/tribe. I also have one small request to help spread the love. In order for this podcast to show up in the feed of social media platforms of other like-minded people, we need reviews. So please head on over to jenmons.com/podcast to leave a review. You will also find other inspiring episodes on that page. So I personally read these reviews weekly and would love to give you a shout out and share your kind words with our listeners. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Jen Mons or The Holistic Coach with the W Holistic and Jen Mons, JenMons.com. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Aloha.